as I said, I'm Richard Bevan. I'm the non-exec chair of Narryer Metals. I'm filling in today for Gavin England, our MD, who ironically lives in the Clare Valley, but is on site in Canada. So, and just for full disclosure, I'm also a non-exec chair on TG Metals, and David Self is presenting a little later in this session. So a little bit about Narryer. Narryer listed last year on a set of exploration assets sort of in the nickel and rare earth space with projects in Western Australia and here in South Australia. Recently we acquired a set of lithium projects in Canada, in Ontario and Quebec, which I'll talk to you a little bit about today. And we also have some other just exercised an option on another sort of carbonatite target in southern Western Australia. And there's a little bit of interest in those sorts of projects if you follow WA1 in the market. So I guess the Canadian acquisition, we acquired these 5 projects. It's about 125 square metres of tenure across 5 sites. Very early stage, all have visible pegmatites, but none have been sampled, which is why Gavin's on the ground there at the moment. We did a deal that was a reasonably soft deal with a sort of share-only acquisition up front with some performance hurdles if the projects prove to be successful. And I guess the question, is really, there's been a lot of Australian companies head to Canada, and why is that? If you look at the search space, that superior craton that runs throughout Quebec and Ontario is probably twice the size of the Yilgarn and Pilbara cratons in Australia. So it's a large search space. It's been historically pretty underexplored. It is close to some infrastructure. There are 3 gigafactories, battery factories that have been approved for development in Ontario and Quebec, and a number in that northern northern US. So there's lots of infrastructure, there's lots of interest and lots of activity on the ground. And I think the other good thing about lithium exploration for juniors explorers is that it's reasonably cost effective. Especially in Canada, there's a very low weathering profile. A lot of these pegmatites outcrop. And so in terms of getting in and sampling and seeing if it's mineralised or not is a pretty cost-effective exercise. So these new projects, as I said, they all have outcropping pegmatites. They're all adjacent to known lithium mineralisation. There's a number of companies, both ASX and TSX listed, that have got lithium resources in the area. So, we're quite hopeful we can get on the ground and do that. Gavin England is over there at the moment. He's visited 2 of the projects, Hailstone and Pontax East, and and Eads, and he's at Pontax East today. And we're hoping that all those samples will be wrapped up by the end of the week. So we should have some indication of if we're in the right spot or not, sort of in the next 3 or 4 weeks. The other project that we've got that we'll continue on with, this is the carbonatite project called Rocky Gully in Western Australia. Once again, it's a project that we optioned up about 15 months ago. Fairly low cost option, has allowed us to do some extended due diligence. There is some historical exploration at this project. So sort of some drill results that are sort of 32 metres at about 1500 ppm total rare earth, with some high grade intercepts in there that are worth following up. We've brought all the data together. We've also run a mag survey and come up with a great magnetic anomaly that we've been successful in attracting WA government co-funding. So that's all slated to be sort of drilled in the first quarter of next year. And as I said, the WA Resources had some joy with a similar sort of profile gravity anomaly up in the West Arunta in Western Australia. So in summary, Narryer Metals, it's got a tight cap structure, 65 million shares on issue. We've got about 1.1 million in the bank at the end of June, and we've subsequently raised another 1.4 on that, thanks to sort of the directors and shareholders, and also Morgans in Perth, and I saw a few Morgans guys here, so that's great. So we're well funded to get this done and then fire another shot down at the Rocky Gully. And I think the fact that you've got a tight capital structure really does provide that leverage that there's some upside. And probably lithium, even though the lithium is off a little bit, it's probably the one bit of the market too, as well as rare earths, that we're still getting some joy for exploration and some reward. So I'd love to have a chat to you more about the project if anyone would like, and encourage you to download it from the QR code or from the website. So thanks very much for your attention.
So everybody knows there's no such thing as a free lunch, and I hope you've all been taking notes, because we're actually going to have a bit of an interactive audience Q&A after each presenter. So did anyone have any questions for Richard that you wanted to just scream out?
Richard,
I'll come over to you now.
Thanks for being here.
how's access in James Bay at the moment, post the fires and everything?
Yeah.
You got full access to your ground?
Yeah, so I guess it varies project to project, but we are definitely, those fires have passed through. The access is pretty good. Some of it's by helicopter. In some ways, unfortunately, the fires has been a positive in the sense of clearing some undergrowth. So some of these, when you're doing some of that mapping, it's made things a bit easier. There's a few windows where you can't fly choppers around the moose season because people are shooting moose and trying to escape bears. And it was interesting, I got a photo from Gavin today with a big bear scat just there. Shit, Greg. Yeah, but in general, there's plenty of infrastructure. There's lots of activity up there, and we've engaged some consultants, CSA, which are now ERM, up there to assist us get in there. And I think there's still plenty of opportunity, especially in the Northwest Territories and Northwest Ontario, for greenfield exploration. James Bay's been a real focus and a hub, but there's plenty of other opportunity out there. So, thanks, Nick.